Hey everybody, I'm George Connolly from Scratch Golf Tips. Thanks for tuning in, and today we're going to be talking about putting mats. A lot of people have them for one reason or another. Some people can't get out to the course, some people can't play because of weather, so a lot of people are at home with putting mats. So in this video, I'm going to go over a few fundamentals to really dial in your putting at home with your own putting mat. It seems almost every day I get a few messages. What putting mat should I get? How do I use a putting mat? So in this video, I'm gonna go over how you can use a putting mat. If you don't have one yet, they can be picked up in a few different stores. I believe most stores like Walmart, Target, places like that will have them in the sports section, maybe a limited selection. But if you go into a sporting goods store like Dick's Sporting Goods, or if you go to Golf Galaxy, you'll find a wider variety of them. I'll also link one down below if you want to get one online. That being said, assuming you have a putting mat, there are a few things in the setup of a putting mat that really do matter that you should take in account. The first one being the mat should be on flat ground, and this sounds self-explanatory. Usually if you're putting it in a house, you don't have any undulation in your floor, but even the slightest undulation that you may not notice can really affect the way that you practice on your putting mat. This may happen with hardwood in an older house. I know that hardwood can get a little bit curved. It can have some subtle undulation in it. So if you're rolling the ball and you see that it dives off a little bit, that's bad. There should not be any slope in your putting mat. Ideally, if you can put it on tile or newer hardwood that doesn't have any bends in it, that is what you want to do. You should not be putting a putting mat on carpet. It's going to slow it down, and it also has some unnecessary bumps. So find the least undulation possible in your home, and then try and put that mat on some type of hard surface like tile or hardwood. Now, one thing that I started doing a few years ago with my putting mat, it's actually just something that I do with the ball, which is huge, is I line my balls all the way around. So when I normally play golf, I have a half line on my ball and I line it up through there, and then that just helps me with alignment. On a mat, there are usually a number of alignment lines throughout the mat that either dissect how far you are away or make a clear path into the hole. So that's not really necessary for the mat, but what I use the full line for is when I hit the ball, you can see how well you struck the ball by how that line rolls end over end. You may have seen this on TV sometimes when the tour uses what's called a worm eye view angle, which is right behind the ball, very low. You can see when the pros hit a great putt, that line is just rolling over itself again and again, and it's a great visual that you can get on your balls when putting on a putting mat. There are a number of tools that you can use if you don't already have one to make these lines. I would not recommend just taking a Sharpie and doing it freehand. It might be a little bit wobbly, and that's just not a good thing. So I'll link a ball marking tool in the description as well. So once you have that ball which is fully lined, you want to line it up with that line directly looking at the hole. That way, if you strike it perfectly and it goes straight, you will see a very satisfying end over end roll. Now, with that being said, a few drills that I use. The number one drill I use and most people who putt use is a gate drill, which is normally done by sticking a few tees down in the ground when you're on a putting green, but obviously you can't stick tees down into a putting mat. What I do is I just take a few extra golf balls and I put them just outside of the club face on my putter, and that way I can promote the best path possible and ensure center contact with the ball. In order to set up the drill, I simply put the putter head down, put the ball I want to hit in the center, and then put the two balls as close to the edge of your putter face as possible. It may be difficult. You can see in the video that I showed, I actually had a toe strike, which happens every now and again, but this is a great way to get that instant feedback that is so valuable when taking some time to work on your putting on a mat. I'm also a huge fan of using my putting mirror on my mat. The mirror helps with a number of things. I'm a huge proponent of having putting mirrors. It helps with your eye alignment, your club alignment, all kinds of stuff, stroke length. So if you can just put that down on your mat and go to work with that, that'll never hurt you. Just like any other product that I mentioned in these videos, if you want to look into purchasing a putting mirror, there will be a link for that in the description of this video as well. Finally, something that I've found really valuable in the putting mat that I purchased is a little insert, which you can see on your screen now. This is just a little white insert that will make the hole a little bit smaller. For me personally, I would say 95% of the time that I use my putting mat, that insert is in, aim small, miss small, and it helps me when I go out and onto the course and I see the hole. It's like it feels a little bit bigger to me, which is always a big confidence booster. So if you haven't already picked up your putting mat, if you go online or in stores, just be sure to look at the product details and see if that insert is included before you buy. So now that you have all the basic fundamentals of what I do on my putting mat and how it's helped me, Now it's time for you to put it in action, and the best way to do that is the best way to improve on anything in golf, and that is putting in the time and getting the repetitions in. So much of putting is feel-based, so the more time you spend just rolling putts, even if it's somewhat aimlessly, that's the only time that I'll recommend aimless practice, is when you're trying to get feel. But there's so much improvement to be had just by staying active and continuing to practice and work towards something. So that's all I've got to maximize your practice with a putting mat. If there are any questions I left unanswered or did not address in this video, be sure to comment them down below. I respond to all comments on these YouTube videos. You can also reach me personally by sending a direct message to any of the Scratch Golf Tips social media platforms, or you can email me personally at scratchgolftips@mail.com. If you like the apparel that I wear in these videos, I wear John Morgan Sportswear. There will be a link to their site with a SGT discount code down below. They're a proud partner of Scratch Golf Tips, and any purchases made through that code help support the Scratch Golf Tips brand. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Play well and take care.